Hey everybody, so my name is Precious and welcome to my channel. Let's talk with Precious. So today I'm going to be doing a YouTube video on karmic relationships. So in the spiritual community and in spirituality, especially with tarot card reading, a lot of people are told that they have a soulmate, that they are in a karmic relationship, or that they have a twin flame, and so on and so forth. And I've just decided to break it down because I was talking to my friend and he was explaining to me his romantic situations. The answer just popped up in my head about what a karmic relationship. So this is not going to be a super long video. This is maybe going to be about 4 or 5 minutes detailing what exactly is a karmic relationship. So, there are two types of karmic relationships that I found out. So, the first example of a karmic relationship is when you are in a relationship with someone that is only meant for you to learn a lesson about yourself that you should have learned a long time ago. So, my friend who had started talking to this woman about a year ago, and then all of a sudden they just drifted apart and stopped talking. And then a couple of months or so later, well, I know I just said about a year ago. So they started talking about a year ago, and they were talking for like a few months, and then after a few months they just slowly drifted apart and stopped talking. And I want to say within a 5 to 6 month time span, they started talking again. And this time their relationship got a lot deeper. They started talking on the phone more, they started hanging out more, and they just kind of started to develop more into a partnership than they did before when they first started talking. But one thing that my friend had noticed is that the woman that he had rekindled a relationship with started to have the same characteristics or the same habits that she had in the beginning. So when he first met this woman that he was talking to, she dealt with depression. She had a very busy schedule and she was working and she had a lot of different things going on that kind of distracted her from my friend. So that was the reason that she used for the reason why they didn't have a longer relationship, or that their relationship really didn't blossom or bloom into something more concrete, was because she was super busy and was dealing with emotional issues and different life situations or whatever the case may be. So, when they rekindled their relationship and started talking again, the relationship did started to bloom a little bit more than it did the first time around. But as the relationship started to bloom, she gradually started drifting from my friend. She stopped talking to him as much. She stopped calling him as much. And the reason for her not being present or not being as close or not being so active in the relationship building process with my friends because, I'm dealing with something right now, I'm very busy, blah, 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 blah. So my friend, he was really interested in this girl. And so he started to say things like, well, I'm going to give her a chance. I'm going to give her a try. I'm just going to wait around for her. She's going to come around eventually. But after weeks and weeks and weeks of them going from talking every day to talking maybe 1 or 2 days out of the week, to not talking at all, my friend pretty much said, you know what? I have a life too. I have feelings too. And I can't continuously wait around on someone who is not going to meet me where I'm at and stay consistent enough in order for us to have a concrete, strong relationship. And I told my friend that I was proud of him because he finally learned that lesson of not allowing people to waste his time. So that's one example of a karmic relationship, how when people from your past that you were either friends with or in a romantic relationship with, or even who you were really close to as family members, start to come back into your life that you kind of either cut off or drifted apart from in the past, start to come back. That could be one of the reasons why they're coming back, is because through this person, for whatever reason, you were meant to learn some type of lesson that you needed to learn in order for you to have better relationships with people in the future. So that's one of the explanations of what a karmic relationship is. Now I'm going to use another example. So there was this guy who was dating this girl. And so this guy was pretty much talking to this girl, hanging out with her, spending time with her, always at her house. And they pretty much developed a close bonded relationship. But little did I know, and this was a client of mine that I had, well, he was, well, no, I take that back. They weren't a client. They was somebody I knew a long time ago, but we don't talk anymore. So this guy was pretty much talking to this girl that on the surface level, on the outside looking in, it looked like they were a very happy couple. It looked like they were a very sweet couple, that they got along, so on and so forth. But little did other people know, this girl was like real rude to him. She was real mean to him. She was pessimistic. She was, oh, thank you. She was pessimistic. She was, just very, how can I say it? Just narcissistic, very selfish, and only into herself and what she wanted, and so on and so forth. So this guy knew this about her and saw this in her, but he just kept going with her anyway. And it got to a point where she started to hurt his feelings, where she was hanging up on him on the phone. She was telling him when to come and see her, telling him when to come and meet her, telling him how he should treat her, instead of allowing him to operate in his divine masculinity so that he can so that he could court her, and so that he could get to know her for himself. And when he kept getting pretty much blocked and pretty much controlled and mentally and emotionally abused in some ways, it just got to a point where he just could not deal with the relationship anymore. And he eventually went back to her after breaking it off with her. But when she did him like that again by breadcrumbing him, and I hope I'm not being confusing, because I'm just trying not to tell this person's business too much without, specifically saying all that happened. But I'm just here to let you know that the guy who was in a relationship with the woman, he, little did he know, he mimicked a lot of those characteristics that she had, with the narcissism, the selfishness, being very controlling, telling people what to do all the time, pushing and pulling people and breadcrumbing people, and so on and so forth. And I'm not sure if this guy ever saw himself within the girl, but that's another example of a karmic relationship. Sometimes if this is not a person that you used to deal with in the past coming back up, it could be a person that you have attracted from simply being who you are, that's acting as your mirror. Like, this person can be relatable, down to earth, or whatever kind of personality or characteristics that you have about yourself. They can be a mirror to you, showing you who you are, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And if you see the ugly and you're constantly being hurt and pushed and pulled and ridiculed and breadcrumbed and gaslit and emotionally abused or physically abused or mentally abused or whatever type of abuse you're experiencing, then that relationship is not only a karmic relationship, it's more so of a reflection of how you need to change, of how you need to do better, or how you need to improve on those ugly parts, or on those degrading parts, or on those like nasty parts of yourself, so that you can attract better people. Because that is an example of you are what you attract. Because sometimes people end up in bad relationships with people because they're bad people, or because they're toxic people, or because they're a nasty person, or because it's something about them that attracts the same energy that they give to people. And that's why they can't really get everything that they should in the relationship, because if they're mistreating people and hurting people and bullying people and disrespecting people, then that's what they're getting in that relationship. So if that person is wise enough or intuitive enough or has enough discernment to see themselves for who they are, including the ugly stuff and not just the good stuff, but then they turn around and look at this person that they're in a relationship with and they see that too, then they're going to be like, okay, this relationship was pretty much my karma to teach me a lesson about how I need to treat people, or how I need to improve on myself, or how I need to be a better human being to others, or a better human being to people. So that's where that is. So yes, karmic relationships are pretty much a what goes around comes around. And it's funny how I just said what goes around comes around, because in the first example I used, I talked about how people you used to deal with in the past have come back around to, talk to you or speak with you again. And when it comes to karmic relationships, those relationships sometimes are not meant to, well, I'm not even going to say those relationships are not meant to last. Karmic relationships are what they are. They're karmic. They're meant to teach you a lesson. Now, when it comes to soulmates and twin flames, that's another video, because a lot of people seem to be confused about soulmates. And I'm going to stick to like a little snippet here about soulmates, because a soulmate is a person who is like you share the same spirit. You share the same mindset, the same belief systems, the same vibe, the same energy. You two share each other's spirit or share each other's energy pretty much, which is what makes you so compatible. So, a lot of times you'll see people that are simply attracted to people because they share the same spirit, they share the same energy, the same mindset, so on and so forth. And whether people believe it or not, almost everybody in their own way is intuitive. Like intuition and discernment are one and the same. Discernment is when you can mentally dissect or spiritually dissect, because I hear discernment mainly used in church. But discernment and intuition are pretty much one and the same. It's when you can mentally and spiritually first, then mentally discern what's good for you and what's not, or discern what's meant for you and what's not, or discern or to analyze or to decipher a person's spirit, a person's energy, or pretty much who they are as a person. So that's what discernment is. But when it comes to soulmates is, so all soulmate is a person you happen to share the same soul with. And soulmates don't always have to be romantic. And soulmates, like there's no such thing as just one soulmate for one person. One person can have multiple soulmates, and sometimes this person's soulmate can be dead, can be married to somebody else, can be in another country, in another city, in another state. They could be anywhere, and they could have multiple soulmates. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, leave positive comments in the comment section, and subscribe to my channel. Have a good day.